Hiya! Welcome! It's another contest entry from me today. This one shouldn't take too long. It's a nice simple vinyl community contest from a channel I've just started subscribing to, CGCVinylGuy. What I'll do, as I always do, I'm going to leave a link for his contest announcement video where he explains all the rules in much better detail than I can remember, and he shows some examples as to what he'd like you to do. I'm going to leave that at the top of the description text box, so please will you check that out. Give him a sub, of course, because you need to be a subscriber to enter his giveaway, and then enter it, why don't you? And the goal of this particular giveaway from CGCVinylGuy is to show 6 albums that were released when you were 6 years old. I've got my 6 here, and I'll just explain about the year, or years plural, in a moment. I think you can show sort of different formats and stuff. That's what I'm doing. I've got to show 5 LPs and a CD here, otherwise I might have struggled with this one. And he asked that you just stick to one artist each, rather than say if there's an artist and you've got 2 of their albums which are both out in the same year, just to pick one of them. The prize that he's giving away is, I think, $40 Amazon credit. It's a worldwide giveaway, obviously. I can't remember the date the contest is running. Like I say, all the information will be in his announcement video, so I do suggest after you've watched this, you go ahead and give that a look right away if you're interested in doing this contest yourself. But it's sometime in early November, so I think you've got a good month and a half almost to actually get this one entered, so plenty of time. Right then, 6 albums released when I was 6 years old. Now, the example CGCVinylGuy showed, he just showed 6 from the year he was 6 years old, which was 1968. Now, I wanted to make it not harder for myself, but just do it kind of properly accurate, because my birthday is the 25th of June, and I turned 6 on that date in 1986. So I wanted to choose 6 albums that were released between the 25th of June 1986 and I suppose the 24th of June 1987, as obviously anything before the 1986 date, it wouldn't qualify, it'd still be 5, and anything after the 1987 date wouldn't qualify, as I'd have turned 7. Right, so with that criteria in mind, I feel like I've overcomplicated things now, but it's very simple. It's about the simplest contest you could wish for, really, if you've got the music in your collection. And it took me a little while to dig these out and sort out which ones I could definitely use because of the release dates, and I'm going to show them you now. So the first one, and I think I've got these in more or less a chronological order as well, I'm going to put all the release dates on screen, is Madonna's True Blue. I believe this might be an original pressing or thereabouts as well. I think I picked this up really cheap. This was like 50 pence in a charity shop or something, and it encouraged me to really focus on building up a Madonna collection, particularly for a 1980s work at that point. It's got some really classic Madonna singles on here. The title track, obviously, and Papa Don't Preach, Live to Tell, beautiful ballad, Lara's La Bonita, which has always been one of my very favourite Madonna tracks. Quick look at the disc here. I'll have shown this on the channel previously, so I just wanted to give you a very quick butchers at Madonna's True Blue, that, if my research is correct, came out, at least in America. I'm going by Wikipedia for the dates here. The dates may vary slightly in relation to countries. I mean, this may not have come out the same day in the UK or Europe as it did in the US. So I'm assuming it's the US date that I've seen on Wikipedia. Apparently this came out on the 30th of June 1986, 5 days after my 6th birthday. So unfortunately I couldn't use 6 vinyl records for this. I don't suppose it matters, but it just seems that this one is a bit of an odd one out because I've only got it on CD. As soon as I saw the date of it, and it is one of my all-time favourite albums as well, I had to use it. My favourite band, I've not got everything on vinyl, I've certainly got everything they've ever done on CD. I'm talking about New Order with the excellent Brotherhood. This will be the remastered edition from, when was it, about 2007-ish. I think this came out in September 1986. If I'm getting the dates wrong, I apologise, and you'll see the correct dates on screen. Just quickly show you here, it's a CD, there's not an awful lot to look at. but it is a 2-disc version, and it does have B-sides and alternative versions on the 2nd disc. But I love Brotherhood by New Order. It's a lot of people's least favourite New Order album. I do get that to a point, because it's a very sort of schizophrenic album. Like side 1 is like straight sort of indie rock, and then side 2 is like, you know, proper electronic dance music. They're not mixing it up really, it's sort of one and then the other. There's so many strong tracks on here. In fact, from what I can think, there isn't a bad or a weak track on this album. It's got Bizarre Love Triangle on it, an absolutely phenomenal single. It's got other great New Order stuff that I like Paradise, As It Is When It Was, Angel Dust, Weirdo. Just a brilliant album. Subculture on here as well. Lots to love and enjoy on New Order's Brotherhood, my 2nd album of the 6. The 3rd one is the last one that I'm going to show you, that was released in 1986, and it's one I've not owned for too long. This is a more recent pressing. I think this came out in mainland Europe either early this year or sometime last year, and it's Falco's album Emotional. I will get this album out quickly for you, as it's a rather nice coloured disc. I think the only coloured disc I'm showing in this video. There we are, nice bold red. Falco, Austrian solo artist. His big hit over here in the UK was Rock Me Amadeus, which I think was 1985. Vienna Calling, the follow-up to that, was also, I think, a top 20 hit, or may have scraped the top 10 here. I bought this from a website in Germany just because I was browsing the site and I just wanted to give it a try, really, because Falco albums are fairly difficult to get over here. I say fairly, they're very difficult to get. I thought, you know what, I'll just give this one a punt. And it's a pretty good album. It's not as novelty as I thought. I think Falco, maybe in the UK, would possibly class him as a bit of a novelty artist, simply based on Rock Me Amadeus. And yeah, there's certainly a lot of humour in his music, but it's just a fun album, this, and I don't know if it's going to be classed as his best album, and it's not the one with Rock Me Amadeus and Vienna Calling on. I do think about adding some more Falco to my collection sometimes, as I was pleasantly surprised by this, even though I was really taking a big punt on it, just to try out a German record website. There we are, from, what did I say, November or something, or September, November 86 maybe. Emotional by Falco. Album number 4, you've seen a lot of these chaps, and I've certainly shown this album on the channel before. It's from, I think, around the end of March 87. This is Opus Dei by Lieback. I'm trying to remember if this was an original pressing. I think this might be, you know, thereabouts anyway. Not an awful lot to see. Lieback, I'm not going to bang on about them because I've talked about them in many videos, and I did say try and keep this video snappy. And looking at my timer, without edits, this is going over 10 minutes, which seems to be my problem, really, with these contest entries. I think, well, I can show some albums, and I can just quickly show them, and I could be done in, like, 2 minutes. But then, is it worth putting a video out that's that short and has no sort of information in it? So I do like to waffle a little bit, but then I think, well, maybe people don't want that for a contest entry. I don't know. I apologise, CGCVinylGuy, if I'm talking too much here. It's a recurring habit, I'm afraid. There we are, from March 87 on Mute Records, Lieback Opus Dei. And coincidentally enough, I've got another Mute artist here, and I even think this album was released on or around the same date as Opus Dei by Lieback. It's The Circus by Erasure. Another one I've not had for that long, but I really was working on my Erasure collection earlier on this year. There again, not sure if it's an absolute 1987 original pressing, but it's certainly from probably the late 80s, maybe pushing into the early 90s. I don't really pay an awful lot of attention about pressings and stuff. I just, if I want an album, I buy it. If I buy it on Discogs, that's handy, because then, like, I'll know what pressing it is simply because it was a Discogs listing. If it's from somewhere else and I want to put the right listing, when I add this to my Discogs collection database, then have to look up the barcodes and boring shit like that. But there we are. I've talked a lot about Erasure as well. Circus, great album that, by the way, but then again, it's Erasure from the 1980s. They were a phenomenal synth pop duo. And finally, and this is an album I've not listened to in a little while, it's from Yellow, This is 1 second, and what was the release date I saw for this? I think it was May 1987, this. A good month and a bit, month and a half before my 7th birthday, so this one does qualify. This would have been the album that came out before they kind of really sort of got a worldwide hit in The Race in 1988. Although, does this one have Oh Yeah on it? No, I think that was on the previous one. This one does have a fairly successful single on it, The Rhythm Divine, track 1 on side 2, which features vocals from one Shirley Bassey. Got an inner there with an important notice on it. Make sure you pay attention to the important notice. There we are. That's the 6th and last one for me. 1 second by the Swiss avant-garde duo Yellow. So there we are. Thank you to CGCVinylGuy for this opportunity to enter his contest. I enter these really so I can discover new channels, hope that other channels and other content creators will discover me in turn, and it's just a nice sort of thing to do, to put content out there. And if I ever do win one of these one day, and I don't enter an awful lot of them because I'm not that sort of person. I don't think, oh, I want to win as much as possible. I just like to make content, and doing something that's relatively straightforward like this with the slight possibility of winning a prize at the end of it is a good motivator for making content. And I want to thank you all for watching, and say special thanks of course to my wonderful subscribers and patrons. Please see my Patreon link, Facebook group link, and one for contents insurance. That's all down in the description text box, probably below. I'm gonna go now, and as I say, please go and sub to CGCVinylGuy. He's celebrated his 60th birthday in November. He wants to get to 500 subs, by the way. I probably didn't mention that at the start. He wants to get that done by his birthday when he turns 60 this year, and I think he's going to do it. And this is a great contest, and I've enjoyed this entry here. And I do hope that all of you will join me again next time for my next music-related video. Cheers, everyone. See ya!